Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I remember reading about Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 1 in the magazine, and I saw the box art. I was just kind of stunned. You know how those people talk about how back when I was a kid I played on the SNES and then I saw the Nintendo 64's 3D graphics. I was blown away. That was pretty much me, because the only thing that I played on our crappy family computer were crappy Flash games. Okay, not all of them were crappy, but there was a lot of just weird stuff back then. Anyways, seeing all of these 2D characters from a tower defense game being turned into 3D characters for a third-person shooter was mind-blowing for me. But to run that game, you needed what was back then considered to be a pretty beefy PC. And as I said, I just had a pretty crappy family computer. So I was heartbroken when I realized that I couldn't play the game. But years later, I'm done with all my schoolwork. Summer has started, and I do recall seeing around a month and a half ago that Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 1 and 2 are on Steam. Finally. I couldn't buy them back then because I was busy with schoolwork, but I did pretty well this year, so I thought to myself, you know what, I can buy a new video game. So I bought Garden Warfare 2, and honestly, the game just clicked for me. I liked everything about it. However, there's just one thing that keeps bugging me and many other players out about this game. It's one map. That map being Walnut Hills. And if you haven't figured it out by the title yet, I am going to talk about why Walnut Hills is the worst map in Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2.
Fast as fuck, boy.
Oh, I see why we're winning. We have 2 more people on our team.
Oh no!
Yeah, there he is again. And he's still going. He died to my fucking potato nugget, guys.
Nice.
Oh shit, there's just one more.
What? Huh? Huh?
Engineer? Yeah, I'm engineering my fucking limit! Well, shit.
A fucking all-star! A fucking all-star just walked in, just tingling.
Damn!
I'm not some kind of genius level designer. I don't know much about level design. However, I know something about level design. And let's say you shouldn't make a map that actively screws over one of the teams for no fucking reason whatsoever. Walnut Hills is a gardens and graveyards map, meaning that zombies attack and plants defend. It's actually a Garden Warfare 1 map. On this map, you can only use the original 4 classes from Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 1, meaning no Colonel Corn, Citron, Rose, Imp, Super Brains, or Captain Deadbeard. You can still use variants that got introduced in Garden Warfare 2, just no new classes. I feel like this is a pretty neat inclusion considering that I haven't played Garden Warfare 1, but honestly the map is not that good. Visually, I think that the map is pretty cool. It actually lets us see what the suburbs from PvZ1 might have looked like. And the final stage of the game is a pretty cool callback to Walnut Bowling. It's too bad that the game is most likely going to end at the first stage of the map. Ah yes, the backyard. The first stage of this map is pretty bad. On this stage, the zombies have to traverse a graveyard to reach the garden that they have to capture, which doesn't sound that bad, but I'll get into why it's bad. Literally, the plants have an entire sight line of the whole playable area. I think I kinda get what they want you to do here. They can see you from pretty far away and they can pretty easily vanquish you before you're halfway to your destination. But you have a strength in numbers. is what I would say if it wasn't for the fact that both teams have an equal amount of players. And plants can plant pod plants, which is way easier compared to summoning zombies on this part of the map. Plants have way more cover compared to zombies, and the same thing goes for the spots where they can plant pod plants. Zombies also have some cover when summoning zombies. The only problem is that those spots are always in front of this road. This road is the most patrolled road on this part of the map. That's because it connects the garden and both of the spots where an engineer's teleporter might be. And the cover that you do get isn't that big, and if you factor in the fact that a lot of people like playing P-Sure, a class with splash damage, a big portion of the time you won't really get lucky enough to summon zombie. Even if you do end up summoning a zombie, is it really worth it to summon an AI companion that's going to die within seconds? For your life, someone who can actually shoot? Speaking of the teleporter, let's talk about the engineer. No, not that one, the other one, Yeah, that one. Because of their ability to build teleporters, engineers are definitely gonna be a high priority target for the plant team. Thankfully, they have their zombie drones to scout the air. Oh, wait. Wait, no, they don't have that anymore. I'm not saying that that's like some kind of game winner, but holy shit, do plants camp a lot on this map. And they are always after you. And while the big ball blaster is a nice addition, it certainly can come in handy when you're capturing the point. It's a bit generic, to be honest, and I would honestly like a tool or an ability that will let me scout the area or try to get plants in their root abilities and chompers to fuck off from the teleporter for once. However, they get some compensation. Now they can build zombie turrets which are placed near the gardens for some reason, which are almost completely useless. They're always in such spots where they'll easily get destroyed, usually on accident. You have to step off the point to build them, which, if you do not know, the way you capture points is you have to outnumber the amount of opponents on the point in order for you to capture it. Meaning that you have to stop capturing it to build something that'll die within seconds. Not to mention that by the time you've built it, you've probably died yourself. Not to mention that most of the time when I do build it and it survives, me and my teammates just end up capturing the point and it just ends up sitting there doing nothing. Another very annoying thing I forgot to mention about this map, which isn't exclusive to this part of the map, where it's a problem everywhere on the map, is that for some reason you just keep getting stuck on nothing. Ground? Something? I don't know what you even get stuck on. It's kind of hard to notice it while watching gameplay, but when you play it yourself, you'll definitely notice it. I guess that's because the ground has a lot of bumps and indents in it, but other maps in the game also have that kind of ground. Like, the ground isn't completely flat. You don't just get stuck on nothing on literally any other map in the game. So I don't know. Maybe it's a problem with just porting the map into Garden Warfare 2. Maybe it's some kind of technical issue. I don't know what it is. Wherever it is, it's just so annoying. It's not even that big of a deal, but it's just very annoying. There are only few scenarios that I've seen where the zombies actually get to capture the backyard. It's either if people on the zombie team that connected to the match immediately select their characters, and the moment the match starts, they immediately start speedrunning the fucking objective. Engineers immediately go for the teleport, other classes immediately go for the point. That, and if the players on the plant team are still connecting or still choosing their characters or still customizing the characters. And the final scenario is when the players on the plant team are genuinely that really incompetent or just new to the game, where they just have no idea what's going on. Even when I'm on the plant team, I noticed that like it's way too easy to defend the first point. And it's often pretty boring because it's just a game of waiting for zombies to just walk out of cover for me to shoot them because it's not really gonna go any other way. The treehouse isn't perfectly balanced, but it's definitely way better than the first point. Now both teams get some amount of cover. I think that this time around zombies have more cover than the plants. Plants certainly do have some cover, but it's not as useful. However, it's not to say that it's completely useless. However, this time if the plants want to try and protect the point, they'll actually have to go out of their cover and they can pretty easily get taken out by foot soldiers on rooftops of random houses around the area. Players on both teams can certainly stay in cover and take out enemy players. However, they will have to get out of their comfort zone at some point if they plan on completing their objectives. Now the teleport spots are fine. Well, yes, I do prefer the left teleport spot compared to the right one. The right one is still fine, it's in the open, but still, considering that a lot of people like playing foot soldier on this part of the map, plants actually have to risk something to destroy the teleporter, as opposed to on the previous stage where an engineer would vanquish a camp pusher, and by the time the engineer builds the teleporter and one turret, that pusher is already back within a few seconds, already throwing a chili beam bomb and going into Gatling and immediately destroying everything. Cacti still get some sightlines that are hard for zombies to access. But this time they have some kind of competition. There are also foot soldiers with their own sightlines, probably fighting the cacti. So they will have to balance out taking out the foot soldiers and taking out zombies that are approaching the point. As I said, this point is definitely more balanced than the previous one, but I still feel like it leans a bit more into the favor of players on the zombie team, because it's way too easy to spam zombie stink clouds onto the point, and you can just stand behind that one wall to capture the point while being in cover. And as I said, the plants actually have to exit out their cover to defend the point. If there were around the same amount of people fighting for the first point, and the zombies still manage to capture, they are most likely going to capture this part of the map as well. After capturing the treehouse, the zombies are now tasked with capturing the playground, which again favors the plants. Now I can't really pinpoint what exactly is so bad about this part of the map. I would just say that plants just respawn a bit too close to the point. The left teleport spot is terrible. It doesn't even teleport you that far, and when you do go through it, you're stuck with this little cover, and you'll have like 5 people cramming and just barely managing to get into cover because everyone is just kinda body blocking each other because it's such a small fucking space. And now you have to cross this whole huge field that's almost completely open. Meanwhile, plants have a bunch of cover and a bunch of high ground. Now, the right teleport spot is okay. It does teleport you quite far away and it teleports you right across the street from the point. However, that acts as a double-edged sword. If you recall, I said that plants spawn very close to the point, meaning that you will kill a pusher that was very annoying, and less than 10 seconds later, or just a little bit over 10 seconds later, or 10 seconds later, I don't know. I don't usually count it. The point is, they're back pretty quickly. Now this has kind of a similar problem like the first point. It's nowhere near as bad as the first point, but it's certainly very annoying. In order to capture it, you have to stay in this very small enclosed space that can easily be spammed with a bunch of splash damage and chili beam bombs. In order for a push to work, you'll have to maybe have an engineer with you to take care of the chompers, have foot soldiers take the high ground and cover you, and you'll probably have like an all-star or maybe a scientist pushing into the point together. Maybe the scientist can flank some plants and heal the all-stars, while the all-stars do the more heavy work. But again, that's a lot of team coordination for a casual game, and especially a lot of team coordination that can be completely screwed over by 1 or 2 players just going into hyper, jumping like twice and then pressing 1. The next stage of the map is the park. This can either be a pretty easy point to capture or a hard one. It all comes down to how the plant team is playing during this stage of the map. A good offense is the best defense for this part of the map. If plants are playing defensively, they'll usually stay in this area, which, while yes, they do get a lot of cover like in other BS parts of the map, at least this time around they don't get a lot of high ground. They can decide to stay on the point. If they do, they're very likely to get flanked, because there are multiple different routes for zombies to take to approach the situation, and it's not like one route is unnecessarily long and very risky. They're pretty equal in my opinion. However, there's one thing that's quite a big issue for the zombie team, and that's that teleport spots suck. Well, not really. They're actually pretty good. The actual problem is the fact that plants spawn next door to it. Meaning that, again, as I said earlier, you will kill a P-shirt, you will completely outsmart them, but it does not matter, because they're just gonna go back and do the same thing because they respawn pretty quickly. They get their most annoying abilities that let them get high ground, and there's really nothing you can do about that.
That's hot as fuck.
Why do you spawn here? Not even the turrets can like give a shit about me. Thanks. Thanks for the rebound.
Oh no. That's easy.
No.
Oh,
That's
in,
not
boys. What are you doing?
I broke
He's
the
gone
teleporter. I broke that's all that it took to break the teleporter. And I still don't know why they keep putting teleporters next to houses. I guess what they want you to do is to have a foot soldier take the high ground so they can defend it while at the same time picking off plants that are trying to defend the point. But that's just not what happens in practice. What actually happens is everyone plays foot soldier as a discount sniper class, meaning that a big portion of them will just sit in one corner for most of the match. And when they do die, you better hope that they respawn while the teleporter is up and that they actually see that it's up. Because I've seen many dudes just respawn, go to the same sniping spot so they can get revenge on the guy who killed them.
They want, I'm gonna give them a little... Oh no, not this dude!
Yeah, this guy really hates you. Don't worry, my Okay, let's just actually say that a foot soldier does go for the portal. Let's say that he just decides to go on the roof. So what? It's not like the plant team will see him and just go, oh no, they got the foot soldier on the roof. Well, GG guys, I guess we're just gonna lose this game now. There's really nothing we can do about it. We gotta pack our stuff, we're done here. They got that one foot soldier on the roof, there's nothing we can do about it. No, what's actually gonna happen is he's gonna get shot by 5 different people, and then everyone will just go, wait, is it at the house right next to the teleporter? Let me just hyper over there, go with the Gatling peel, or just throw Chili Bean Bomb, or maybe both. After capturing the park, the zombies are tasked with capturing the real estate. And to my surprise, this is actually a well-balanced part of the map. Now you might say, how is it well-balanced? Zombies always end up capturing it. Well, no shit, if they captured 4 other zones and 3 of those 4 zones are against their favor, they're probably gonna have an easy time capturing this one that's actually well-balanced. What I like about this part of the map is that zombies can take different routes. And while you can see them taking those routes, it's not like on the first point where you can sit as a cactus in one spot and just have a sight of the entire playable area. You actually have to get off your fat ass and go after them. What's also good about this part of the map is that the teleporters are secluded in such a way that it's actually kind of hard to get to them. I'm pretty sure that every single P-Sure main just had a heart attack hearing that. However, one of the teleport spots is very vulnerable to getting shot by Gatling peas that just decide to hyper onto that one fucking roof. The other teleport spot is a bit better because it actually has a roof over the teleport for once, and while yes you can shoot through it, it's actually kind of a task getting there, and that whole area is a bit more claustrophobic, meaning that engineers actually have a fair chance. You can't just jump onto the roof, get high ground way too easy, and then just immediately shoot the teleport. Another good thing about this part of the map is that the zombie turret that the engineer can build is actually in a spot where it's not too risky to build it. Of course, people can still see you and vanquish you, so you gotta be careful when you decide to build it. And it's actually in a pretty good spot that can catch someone off guard, and it's going to stay up for longer than 5 seconds. Not that it's too useful, but it's nice to see that it's an improvement over the other spots. If the zombies manage to capture the real estate, the plants are then tasked with defending the club. And this part of the map turns the tables and actually favors the zombie team. I don't really know what to say about it. In all my time playing this game and getting footage for this specific map, I'm yet to see zombies fail to capture the club. Now the club is honestly kinda boring, mostly because there's really nothing to do here. The tactic that I've seen most people employ is just kinda run at the point and overwhelm the plants. There's really no good spots for anything. There's only a little bit of high ground. There's like only one place where it's like clear that the level designers want you to go and snipe from there, but it's like the only spot, so everyone is either going to spam it with zombie sting clouds or are going to expect people to be there. There are certainly some other sight lines, but they're really not that good. Zombies respawn right next to the teleport entrance, and the teleporters are very easy to build themselves, and they teleport you pretty close to the point. And while yes, they're right in the open, it goes to show that if you actually spawn plants far away from it, and if you don't put houses or some kind of high ground that is easily accessible by P-Shures, it actually isn't that fucking annoying, and you're actually having fun playing the game as an engineer. Another kind of annoying thing that the zombie players can do is foot soldiers can just go onto the roof of the real estate house building thing and snipe plants from their spawn. They can actually even see the plants respawn and shoot them before they even make it to the garden. Huh, what does this remind me of? I can't really put my finger on it. After zombies capture the club, we reach the climax of this map, the mansion, which actually shows us why this map is called Walnut Hills in the first place. If I just show this shit to you, I feel like you wouldn't even know that has anything to do with walnuts, because the name comes from this one part of the map. That, and I also remind you that all of this shit is happening is because zombies just want a mansion. They don't want Crazy Dave or plants, they just want a mansion. Whatever. Now, why is this the climax of the map? Well, that's because this part of the map is just the combination of everything completely wrong with the entirety of this map. The defending team spawns really close to the fucking thing that they have to defend. The zombie team has to traverse so much bullshit to even get close to the thing they have to capture. And the whole point of gardens and graveyards is that zombies have to travel a very long distance, but they have a strength in numbers, and if they manage to take advantage of that, they could very easily win the game if they manage to pull it off. The problem is, this map just goes fuck you to all of that and just lets the plants outnumber the zombies. Zombies do not get to summon AI zombies, meanwhile plants get to plant pod plants. That, and paired with the fact that really the only thing that the zombies can do here is just walk at the mansion, hoping that the people on the plant team just happen to all of a sudden go both blind and deaf. It's just a shit show all around. The main reason why it's so hard to get into the mansion is because to even get near the entrances or to just go into the front yard of the mansion, you need to go through one of 3 choke points. What makes this even more tedious and annoying is that, at least from my experience, most people that decide to play plants on this map either play sunflowers or pea shooters. I remember I was once placed in a game of turf takeover on Walnut Hills. It was the final stage, and there were 1 to 2 pea shooters guarding each of the choke points. And now the enemy team has to do a very well coordinated push against my team, but all that those motherfuckers did was just press 2 on their keyboard. There's way less effort than what the enemy team has to do now. And most importantly, it just makes the game unfun for one of the teams. There is a secondary entrance if the first one is being camped too hard, but it's just, I do not understand it. It's like it's supposed to be a flank route, but flank routes are usually sneaky and used by few specific classes to usually take out or distract the enemy team. But the enemy team has to balance between guarding the flank route so someone doesn't do something bad to them, and they also have to balance actually paying attention to the objective. The problem is the plants here get to do both, because Cacti can just guard both the porch and the balcony entrance just by standing on the balcony. Also, it's not really sneaky considering that you have an icon above your head that shows people what you are and where you are. Aside from the fact that planes spawn up there, it's not necessarily the most mysterious place ever. I mean, half the team spawns there and half the team camps there. I know what the fuck they wanted you to do here. I genuinely have no idea. As if that whole thing wasn't questionable enough, they put a pot for a pot plant right behind the corner in front of the entrance. Because, no, that's very cool, especially when someone puts an ice room there, and even if you do one shot as a scientist, it's still gonna fucking freeze you. So they pretty much just put that there without any strategizing just to get you to waste even more time. It's just stupid. Another thing I've kind of forgot to mention. The walnuts that roll down the hill are not physics objects, meaning that they are scripted to roll that way. If that's the fucking case, can someone please tell me who was the fucking genius behind the idea to make them roll into the zombie spawn right in front of the teleport? Because there is no way someone thought that, yes, this is a good idea. That there is no way. It's not that big of a deal, but still, like, some dude is just going to get baited by the teleport. He's not gonna get teleported because someone else took the teleport like a frame before he did. So he's gonna walk into a walnut and the whole fucking game will display a message telling, hey, look at this guy, he's a dumbass for dying this way, even though it's really not that dude's fault. And I mean, again, it's not that big of a deal. I imagine it's not that fucking hard to make them explode like 2 seconds earlier. If they were scripting them to roll down this way, they probably should have known that this is something that could easily happen. I mean, you don't need like fucking hours of fucking playtesting to realize that that's not really a good fucking idea.
I fucking did it. I timed it perfectly.
Oh shit. We got to
Someone just died at spawn. That was so sad.
Yeah, he was trying to enter the teleport. The teleport broke and the walnut went into our spawn and just exploded. However, I almost forgot to mention one thing. While zombies are usually a disadvantage here, there is one ability that makes this completely bullshit for both of the teams. And that ability is the energy warp. The energy warp is the alternative ability to the warp, which instead of just warping you forward, it lets you move around with a slight speed boost while being invincible and not being able to jump and shoot. The only thing you can do to stop this is to just carefully place walnuts to block off the entrance to the mansion. But again, that's quite a lot of work considering that some dude just pressed 2 on his keyboard and started walking forward. While I was looking for music to put in this video, I came across this comment section where people were just talking about how the energy warp is complete bullshit on this part of the map, and yeah, I agree. So I just realized, like, what is more BS? The things that the plants do, or the things that, well, the scientists specifically can do? And that just kind of got me thinking, because I've seen a big portion of people complaining about plants constantly camping, and a big portion of people complaining about the energy warp. But to be honest, I don't think this is a situation where one team is favored over the other. And I feel like this is the perfect example why this is the climax of this map. Why this is the worst part of this worst map. It just kind of takes screwing over both of the teams and just kind of meshes them into one thing. Because honestly, this is just complete bullshit and not really fun for both of the teams. There was this one game where I was on the zombie team and I tried using the energy warp for the first time. And it was very fun, and I managed to get into the mansion 4 times. We still lost.
Please don't buy the block. Yes. Yo, yes!
Yo, just have nothing but fucking goofy.
Easy. Fucking get into the fucking mess. Okay. Okay, cool. See you later, pal. I died. Okay. Okay. Yes. That's it. I just have to do that once more. Am I like the only person who's actually getting to the mansion? Oh! GG.
But just think about that for a second. I got into the mansion 4 times and we didn't win. That means I was the only person who even managed to get into the mansion, because everyone else could barely make it past one of the 3 entrances to the front of the mansion. It just kinda goes to show, while yes, you have the energy warp, planes also have a lot of bullshit. It's just not really fun. The only way you can get into the mansion when the planes are camping is with the energy warp, and there is nothing that planes can do about it. But if you do not have the energy warp, then you can't really do anything about planes constantly camping. Both of these things are just complete bullshit, and you can't really do anything about them 90% of the time. The zombies have to do so much shit only to get burrowed or to step on a potato mine that like clipped through the fucking ground so they couldn't even see it. There are a bunch of pea shooters everywhere, they can't even do anything. But then you have a bunch of zombie scientists that just kind of walk with next to no consequences. Not only that, they also destroy some plant defenses. But again, plants have pod plants. But again, zombies have something, I guess, a teleporter, I guess. I don't know. It's still just not really fun for anyone here. And one scientist with an energy warp isn't a big of a deal. Now, 2 scientists with energy warps, that's when it gets kind of annoying. More scientists with energy warps, yeah, you just call it a day. You're not winning that game. So in conclusion, why do I consider this the worst map in Garden Warfare 2? It's because this map, at least to me, doesn't even seem like it was made with this game in mind. So many abilities are just instant win buttons. Both teams are usually presented with some kind of challenge that revolves around the same thing or the same area, but it's way easier for one team than the other team. And on top of that, the team that's already having it easier has less consequences to face if they somehow manage to fuck up by some miracle. The best example of this are the teleport spots. At so many parts of this map, planes don't really have to risk anything or put themselves into any kind of danger to destroy it, compared to what kind of risk engineers put in to build it. And I know teleporters in other maps can also very easily be camped, but at least in other maps, most of the time, the planes have to balance between camping the teleporter and guarding the point. They cannot do both that well. Again, most of the time. Sometimes, yeah, but most of the time, they have to balance it out in some way. If they camp the teleport too much, the point will get captured. If they guard the point too much, the teleporter will be built and they'll make their jobs way harder. Not to mention that this map just encourages so much camping. And camping isn't really that hard to do. Like, the only thing you need is a pair of eyes and maybe ears. You know, that last one's optional. And also not to mention the fact that playing with campers is just not fun. The teleporter spots on the point before the mansion really show what kind of people camp the teleporters on this map. The moment the teleporter isn't right across the street from the garden or the respawn area of plants, nobody on the plant team can even try to do anything about it. In fact, they just give up. And it's not even that hard to destroy the teleporter on this part of the map. The thing is, it actually requires some kind of risk and strategizing to do. The problem is that people who play P-Sure on this map all have one brain cell that they share amongst each other. The rooftops are not that easily accessible and they can't really camp easily there, so they just don't fucking do it. When they do try to do something about the teleporter, you'll have like some P-Shures pogoing around and they just expect the entire enemy team to do nothing about it, but they forgot that this time they don't have the high ground, they can't just hide up there, they actually have to fight people. And they just think that the entire enemy team is just going to ignore them completely. Once that happens is they see someone pogoing and they all stop doing whatever it is that they're doing and divert their attention towards the pogoing P-Sure. Because honestly, they deserve it. Nobody likes a pogoing P-Sure. I know I've been mostly pretty negative towards the planes, but don't get me wrong, zombies have a lot of bullshit, like the already mentioned energy warp, astronaut, and super commando are super fucking annoying on this map. Another thing I am still kinda questioning is why did they put this map in? Every time I hear someone either outside of the game or in the game rambling through voice chat about how Garden Warfare 1's maps were way better than Garden Warfare 2 maps, as if they're like old people reminiscing about their old days. They always say, oh, I wish they brought back the map with the giant sunflower. Of course, they are referring to Driftwood Shores, one of the fan favorites when it comes to turf takeover maps in Garden Warfare 1. Many people that talked about that almost said this sentence almost word for word, that being, I know why they put Walnut Hills instead of that. The main reason why I hate this map is because it's very unfair. Not because I want to be competitive, not because I want everything to be perfectly fucking balanced. No, it's because it just makes the map completely unfun. Which sucks since Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is one of the most fun games I ever played, and I've never seen any other map aside from maybe Dust Bowl in Team Fortress 2 being able to flush all the fun down the shitter with this much ease. My pro gamer tip for you is, if you're being frustrated, if this is pissing you off, if you're not having fun, just remember that you can just, well, quit. You can quit, you know, it's not a competitive game, it's not gonna punish you for it. You can just leave, go back to the backyard, and do something else that's more worth your time. As a man once said, if it's not fun, why bother? Okay, to end up this long video, I don't want to be too mean to the developers. To me, it seems like they were pretty burnt out and just wanted to throw anything, even if it's a port of an already existing one, and a pretty shitty one at that. To me, it seems like they were just burnt out. You know, alongside this map, we got a Chomper variant that's both visually and functionally similar to a different Chomper variant, and this was probably around the time when they were doing something with Battle for Neighborhood, because aside from just making the game, they also had to update that one after they released it. So I understand that they were probably burnt out. My only issue with their decisions is the fact that they included this one, because it wasn't like a fucking mystery that this was like one of the least enjoyable maps. Now of course it's not like a fucking torture to play, it's still just a video game, but I feel like seeing as how many people really like Driftwood Shores, I feel like they probably should have included that one in, because I just playing the game randomly came across 7 people rambling on about how they should have added that instead of Walnut Hills. I know how hard it was for them to just go, yeah, I wonder which one the fans are gonna like the most. But again, I don't want to be like too harsh. I know my criticism can be pretty harsh, so yeah, they were probably just burnt out. I understand that. Yeah, I got nothing else. Holy shit, I just noticed this is a long ass video. Before I go, I just wanted to thank my friends Mr. Yako and Sopatos for helping me record footage for this video, especially considering that I had pretty bad luck when it came to recording footage for this map. The fucking game already. I'm gonna go with the shadow flower and the dark flower thing. Oh, this is the second point. And the game immediately crashed. How cool. Oh, no, the game did not crash, the server crashed. Also, I'm gonna leave you with this pretty cool clip because I didn't really know where I could put it.
Not.
Oh shit, there's already a cactus.